Hello. Now we're working on integers and we are going to look at our rules for BIMDAS. So we already looked at BIMDAS before when we were doing natural numbers. Now we're going to have a look at it when we are dealing with integers. So I'm doing questions that I can see involve BIMDAS. So I'm going to write down BIMDAS on my page. And I know I'm going to have to deal with pluses and minus, both multiplied and divided. So I've written down my rule for multiply, and I know that my division rule is basically the same. So I've written those physically down on my copybook so that I can see them and check them as I'm working. And over time, you'll get used to them, we'll get used to them, and you won't need to write it down. But for right now, everybody is writing down our rules so that we can get them well embedded into our heads and they become normal to us. Now, as usual, let's jump into some questions and see this stuff in practice. So I have -3 plus -5 multiplied by 2. First thing that jumps out at me, this is a secret, +2. So I look at BIMDAS and I know that I have multiplication, so my multiplication and division is going to happen before my addition and subtraction. So I know I have to do this bit first. So I write equals, and I have -3, haven't done anything with it yet, and I have my -5 multiplied by +2. So I have -5 multiplied by +2, minus by plus is going to give me minus 5 by 2 is going to give me 10. And then I have plus multiplied by a minus. I have a plus out here, so I'm adding on a negative number, so that's the same as minus. So I have -3 minus 10, and I can do that on my number line if I get it, or on the number line in my head. I'm going to start at -3, and I'm going to get 10 smaller, 10 colder, if I remember back to my idea of my thermometer. So I'm at -3, it's already a very cold day, and I get 10 degrees colder. I get 10 degrees minus. So I'm going to end up all the way down at -13 degrees. So I have -13 as my answer. Now, the other thing that we can think about, sometimes people like to think if there's no number written here, I can imagine that there's a hidden one. And sometimes we can feel more comfortable if we imagine that if we have a sign outside of our bracket, that there's really a hidden one there. And it means we can apply our multiplying rule more normally. But you can also think about it in terms of adding on a negative if you're comfortable with that. Either way will give you the right answer, and it's whatever you're more comfortable with. Now, let's have a look at this problem here. I have division that I can see, and I have an indice. I have a little number in the top right hand corner, and that tells me how many times I'm multiplying this -2 by itself. So the bracket tells me that this is just working on the -2 up on top. So let's write that out. I have -2 multiplied by itself twice, all over -2. And I know that minus multiplied by minus is going to give me plus, and 2 multiplied by 2 is going to give me 4. So then I'm left with +4 divided by -2. So plus divided by minus, plus divided by minus. This is my multiplication rule, but I know that division works the same way. Plus divided by minus will give me minus. So I have -4 divided by 2. How many 2's are there in 4? There's 2 of them. So that is my final answer there. Now let's have a look at the bottom left-hand corner. So I have -6 divided by -3, -2 cubed. Now, there's no bracket around my 2 here, or -2, so that means that that power, that indice, is only acting on the 2. So this is going to be -6 all over -3 minus 2 by 2 by 2. 2 multiplied by itself 3 times because there's no bracket there. And now I can start to multiply this out. So I have 2 by 2 is 4, and the rest of the should have an equal sign there. Rest of the sum comes along, minus 6 all over minus 3, minus 4 by 2. And I'm doing my multiply here, and I can also do my division. I can do multiply and divide at the same time. So minus divided by minus will give me plus, 6 divided by 3 will give me 2, and then I have minus 4 multiplied by 2. So I have minus 4 multiplied by 2 will give me 8, plus multiplied by plus will give me a plus. So if I feel more comfortable with it, I could say that I had my minus here and I had plus 4 multiplied by plus 2, and in brackets I'd have plus 8. Now no, minus multiplied by a plus is going to give me minus, so that's going to leave me with plus 2 minus 8. And then to finish off, I end up with plus 2 minus 8, and I can use plus 2 minus 8 is going to get 8 smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I end up down at minus 6, and that's my final answer. So you can see here, this is a big complicated looking problem, but I can do each little step, and that is critical. I can do each little step. I don't do a big complicated looking thing like that all at once. I know what an indice is, so I can write down that I have 2 by 2 by 2, and I know how to divide minus 6 into minus 3. I know how to do those things individually, so I can do little bits. And big things are made of lots of little things. So we're going to do each little bit, one after the other, using BIMDAS to keep track of what we do first. And if we do that, it doesn't matter how complicated and big the problems get, because they're always made of small little bits that we can do. Now, let's have a look at our problem here. So I have 3, minus 2, minus 5, plus 7. I have the multiply in the middle here, so I have minus by minus is going to give me plus. 2 multiplied by 5 is going to give me 10, plus 7. And now I'm going to add up my left-hand side terms. I could add up any 2 first, it doesn't matter which, but often we start on the left. So 3 plus 10, 3 plus 10 is going to bring us up to 13 plus 7. 13 plus 7 is going to give us 20, and that's our job done. Now here, middle top, we have minus 2 multiplied by minus 5 plus 9. I know from BIMDAS I'm going to do what's in the brackets first, so I'm going to simplify what's in the brackets first. So I'm going to do this bit first, and I have minus 2 coming along for the ride, and in brackets I start at minus 5 and I add 9. So I'm starting at minus 5 and I add 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I end up at plus 4. Plus 4. So I have minus 2 multiplied by plus 4. A minus multiplied by a plus is going to give me a minus, and 2 multiplied by 4 is going to give me 8. Next problem. Middle of my page now. Actually, I'll do my division here first. So top right. 14 divided by minus 3 minus 4. Now I know from a previous work that if I have fractions, there's secret brackets around them here. That's going to be really important later, and I'm reminding you of it now. So if I have 14, that's fine, that's in brackets, but there's nothing to do there. But I have minus 3 minus 4, so I can do that subtraction. I start at minus 3 and I get 4 colder. I get 4 smaller, so I end up with 14 all over minus 7. I've gone 4 down from minus 3 down to minus 7. Then I have really got plus 14 there. So I have plus divided by minus is minus. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Next problem. So I have minus 4 multiplied by, in brackets, I know that the number sits next to the bracket, so I'm going to multiply, and I have minus 4 multiplied by minus 9 plus 7, all squared. Now, I can see a squared bit, so I have an indice, but I also have stuff going on in brackets, and brackets are going to come first, and then my indice. So I have minus 4, and I'm starting at minus 9, and I'm going to add 7. If I start at minus 9 and add 7, I'm going to get 7 bigger, 7 warmer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I end up at minus 2. So I have minus 2, and now I'm going to do my indice. So it's minus 4 multiplied by squared means I'm going to multiply minus 2 by itself twice. And I get minus 4, and I'll do this multiply out first. So I have minus by minus is plus, 2 by 2 is 4. So I have minus 4 multiplied by plus 4. Minus multiplied by plus is minus. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16. And finally, I'm just bringing together a few different pieces that I've done before, as we often do in maths, and we're going to have a look, and we're going to do the bit in brackets first. So I have 5, and I have 2 minus 3, 2 minus 3, 1, 2, 3 ends up down at minus 1, plus 2, 17 minus 20. Now that one we have to think about carefully in our heads. We start at 17 and we get 20 smaller. So we go all the way down and we end up down at minus 3. And that's squared. Next bit, I have multiply here, but I have an indice to do first. So I have 5 on minus 1, and that I'm not doing just yet because that's multiply, plus 2, and then I have minus 3 multiplied by minus 3. And now I just have multiply. So I have 5 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 5, plus 2 multiplied by minus is plus, 3 by 3 is 9. And now I have a bit more multiply to do. Plus by plus is plus, 2 by 9 is 18. And now I have minus 5 plus 18. This is not multiply, so this is starting at minus 5 on the number line and going 18 bigger. And that's going to bring me up to plus 13. And we can see in each question how we are doing little bits at a time. And you can see how important our number line is for doing our adding and subtracting, and how important our BIMDAS is, and our rules, that our multiplication and division rules that we're going to write up on the top of our page. Because when the questions get bigger like these, it's really important that we have our structures, our number lines, our BIMDAS, and our multiplication and division rules written on the page to keep track of all of the tools we have available to us. And if we get into these habits now, we're going to be able to really succeed at maths. But if we try and skip steps, we won't be able to succeed. We won't be able to continue well. But you can see here how we can get into much bigger problems, and we're still able to cope with them by doing each little bit one after the other.